The station's alarm didn't scream. It pulsed, a deep, rhythmic thrum that made Lieutenant Cade Mercer's teeth ache. He stood in the command center of Outpost Sevara, a relic from humanity's first expansion wave, watching dust fall from ceiling panels that hadn't been properly sealed in decades. His son, 8-year-old Eli, sat cross-legged near the observation window, sketching something in his notebook with fierce concentration. "Dad, the walls are singing again." Cade didn't look up from the flickering console. "It's just the gravity stabilizer cycling. Nothing to worry about." "No." Eli's voice carried that particular certainty children have when adults are being deliberately obtuse. "It's different this time. Listen." Cade paused. The boy was right. Beneath the alarm's pulse, something else resonated through the station's bones, a frequency that hadn't existed 30 seconds ago. He pulled up the deep scan array, and his stomach dropped. Section 7, the sealed wing his grandfather had locked down 40 years ago, showed active power signatures. "Eli, come here, now." The boy moved instantly, recognizing his father's command voice. Cade's hand found the plasma sidearm at his hip, standard issue for soldiers abandoned on forgotten posts, mocked by the fleet for drawing assignment to humanity's cosmic graveyard. Outpost Sevara orbited a dead moon near the Terminus Reach, so far from shipping lanes that supply runs came twice a year. The other garrisons called it Mercer's Mausoleum, a joke about Cade's family maintaining this worthless inheritance for 3 generations. The console lit up with proximity alerts. Something was moving in Section 7. "System identify movement source." The AI's voice crackled with interference. "Unable to comply. Section 7 remains under grandfather protocol. Access restricted to Mercer bloodline command level." Cade felt Eli's small hand grip his uniform. "What's grandfather protocol?" "I don't know. My father never told me." He pulled up the station schematic. Section 7 occupied the station's central hub, a spherical chamber 300 meters in diameter. Every other section radiated from it like spokes. He said some doors should stay closed. The thrumming intensified. Dust became a cascade. Then the lights died. Emergency strips ignited along the floor, bathing everything in crimson. Eli didn't scream. Cade had trained him better than that, but his breathing quickened. Cade activated his wristcom. "System, report status. Primary power diverted to Section 7. Life support stable. Communications external array offline." "Offline how? Retracted into station hull?" Defensive posture activated. Cade's blood went cold. Defensive posture. The station was designed as a forward observation post, not a fortress. What had his grandfather been watching for? The observation window suddenly polarized, then cleared to reveal something impossible. The dead moon below them was glowing, not reflecting the distant star's light, generating its own bioluminescent pulse that matched the thrumming frequency exactly. "Dad." Ellie pressed against the window. "There's something written on the moon." Cade saw it too. Patterns in the light, geometric and deliberate, spreading across the lunar surface like neural pathways activating. He'd studied xenolinguistics at the academy before washing out and accepting this hereditary post. The patterns weren't random. They were a response. The station was calling to the moon, and the moon was answering. "System, initiate full lockdown. Authorization, Mercer Cata 77. Actual. Unable to comply. Grandfather protocol supersedes command authority. Section 7 access required for lockdown authorization." A viewport opened on his console, a live feed from Section 7's entrance. Blast doors, designed to withstand ship-grade weapons, were cycling open, not breached. Opening deliberately from within. Eli tugged his sleeve. "Your grandfather left you a message. In my room." "What? In the hidden panel behind my bed?" "Here's a data chip with your name on it. I found it last week, but you said I shouldn't touch your stuff." Cady stared at his son. The boy had been sleeping in what was once Cady's childhood quarters, which had been his father's before that. He'd never noticed a hidden panel. "Show me?" asked. They sprinted through corridors Cade could navigate blind. The station had been home for 8 years, ever since his wife died and the fleet granted his request for isolated assignment. Raising Eli alone on humanity's forgotten edge had seemed preferable to the pitying looks and whispered conversations at fleet stations. Eli's quarters were exactly as he'd left them. Bed unmade, star charts pinned to walls, a collection of meteor fragments arranged by size on his desk. The boy dropped to his knees and pressed a specific section of wall panel. It clicked. slid aside. Inside, a single data chip sat in a magnetic cradle. Cade inserted it into his wristcom. His grandfather's face appeared, decades younger than Katie remembered, wearing the same uniform Katie wore now. "If you're watching this, something's woken up." The recording's voice was steady, matter-of-fact. "Section 7 isn't a storage bay. It's a stasis chamber. First contact protocols from before the fleet existed, before we knew we weren't alone. I've kept her sleeping for 40 years. Kept her safe from the bureaucrats who'd dissect her, the generals who'd weaponize her, the politicians who'd parade her like a trophy." The thrumming grew stronger. Eli grabbed Cade's hand. She was a queen. Is a queen. Her people called themselves the Resonance. They could communicate across star systems, coordinate fleets with thought alone. They terrified the early colonial expeditions until someone realized they were refugees, not invaders, running from something that ate worlds. The recording leaned closer. "She asked me to keep her here. To wait, she said when the enemy came again, she'd know. The station would know, and a Mercer would have to choose. Wake her and let her fight, or keep her sleeping and let humanity face what's coming alone." The feed showed Section 7's interior, a massive crystalline chamber, and at its center, suspended in frozen light, a figure. Humanoid, but not human. Tall, elegant, covered in what looked like living armor that shifted between solid and translucent. Her face was sharp-featured, beautiful, and alien. Her eyes were closed. The moon is her ship. The station is her throne room. And you, grandson, are her keeper. Choose wisely. The recording ended. Cade felt the weight of 3 generations pressing down. His grandfather, the celebrated first contact specialist. His father, the dutiful maintainer. Himself, the mocked soldier raising a son in isolation. Eli was staring at the now blank screen. "What's coming?" "I don't know. Are you going to wake her up?" Before Cade could answer, every console in the room blazed to life. The main view screen showed space beyond the station and something emerging from the darkness between stars. Ships. Hundreds of them. Shapes wrong enough to hurt the eye, black surfaces that seemed to absorb light itself. The AI's voice filled every speaker, detecting massive gravimetric distortions, unknown fleet entering system. Configuration matches no known species. Estimated arrival at station orbit, 4 hours. Eli looked up at his father. "You have to wake her up. I don't know if I can. I don't know what she is, what she'll do. Grandpa said she asked him to keep her safe. That means she trusts us." The boy's voice carried absolute conviction. "And she's been waiting to fight them. We have to let her." Cade looked at his son, 8 years old and already understanding what command meant. Making impossible choices with incomplete information. He thought about the fleet's mockery, the wasted years, the inheritance that seemed like punishment. Maybe it had been preparation. He checked his sidearm's charge, then looked at Eli. "Stay in command center. Full environmental suit. If anything goes wrong, I know the evacuation protocols." Eli's chin lifted. "Go wake up the Queen." Kade moved through the station with purpose now, each step taking him closer to Section 7's open doors. The thrumming had become a heartbeat, steady and strong. The corridor leading to the central chamber glowed with bioluminescent patterns that matched the moon's surface exactly. He stepped through the blast doors into impossible space. The chamber shouldn't have fit inside the station. It stretched in all directions, crystalline walls reflecting starlight that had no source. At its center, the Queen floated in her column of frozen light, exactly as the recording showed. Cade approached slowly. Up close, he could see details the recording missed. The way her armor moved like breathing, the symbols etched into her skin that shifted and rearranged themselves, the fine network of what looked like circuitry running beneath translucent flesh. She was magnificent. Terrifying. Ancient. A control panel materialized beside the stasis column. No buttons or switches, just a smooth surface with a single handprint outline. His grandfather's hand had been smaller. His father's had never touched it. The choice was his alone. Cade placed his hand on the panel. The light around the Queen pulsed once, twice, then shattered. She fell. Cade caught her instinctively, surprised by her weight, or lack of it. She felt like holding concentrated starlight. Her eyes opened. They were the color of nebulae, swirling and infinite. When she spoke, her voice resonated in his chest, his bones, the station's walls. "How long?" 40 years since my grandfather sealed you. But something's coming. Ships. Not human. Her expression shifted. Recognition, then something like satisfaction. The Devourers. Finally, she stood without apparent effort, pulling away from his arms. Your bloodline kept faith, rare among your kind. My grandfather said you asked for sanctuary. I asked for time. To heal. To wait. She turned, surveying the chamber. This station was my flagship's heart core. Your grandfather helped me fold it into this small space, hide it from those who would exploit it. Now the hiding ends. She raised one hand. The station responded like a living thing. Panels retracted, revealing weapon systems that shouldn't exist. The hull reconfigured, armor plating emerging from what had appeared to be standard alloy. The moon below began to rise, not moving through space but through dimensions, folding reality until it merged with the station itself. Katie's comm exploded with Eli's voice. Dad, the station's transforming. It's huge. The Queen glanced at him. You have offspring aboard. My son. 8 years old. Then he will witness. She moved toward the chamber's exit, her steps making no sound. Bring him. A keeper's child should see what he protects. Cade ran to the command center. Eli stood at the window, watching the station expand into something impossible, a hybrid of human engineering and alien biotechnology, growing to match the fleet approaching from deep space. The Queen entered behind him. Eli turned and, to Cade's surprise, bowed slightly. Where had he learned that? You're her. The boy's voice was steady, the one who's been sleeping. I am Velashara, Queen of the Residence, last of my kind. She studied Eli with those nebula eyes. You are young to face what comes. My dad says being young just means you haven't learned to be scared yet. The Queen's expression shifted. Was that amusement? Wise. She turned to the view screen. The Devourer fleet had accelerated. 2 hours until contact. System, she spoke, and the AI responded with none of its usual delays. Battle configuration. Full resonance protocols. The station bloomed. That was the only word for it. Weapons emerged from every surface, power conduits igniting with the same bioluminescent glow as the moonship. The observation window expanded, becoming a full tactical display, showing the approaching fleet in perfect detail. The ships looked like they'd been grown rather than built, organic curves studded with weapons clusters, hulls that pulsed with dark energy. There were hundreds. The station was alone. Velshara stood at the center of the command center, and the floor responded, raising the platform beneath her feet. Controls materialized around her. Haptic interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. Your fleet abandoned you here, she said, not looking at Cade. Mocked your assignment. Called this place worthless. Yes. They were wrong. This station is the last of 50 defense platforms we built during the First Devourer War. The others fell. This one survived because your grandfather understood what the bureaucrats did not, that some battles require patience. That guardianship is not punishment, but purpose. She glanced at him. You will help me fight. I'm a soldier, not a fleet commander. You are a keeper. That will suffice. She gestured, and a secondary control station rose beside hers. Your role is to maintain stability while I wage war. Keep the station's systems balanced. Protect the crew. The crew is just us, me and Eli. Then protect him. And yourself. I prefer my keepers alive. The Devourer fleet was 60 minutes out. Velshara's hands moved through the haptic controls, and the station responded. Weapons charged. Shields generated. But it was more than technology. Cade could feel something else, a presence spreading through the station's systems. The Queen's consciousness, interfacing directly with every circuit and conduit. They consume, she said quietly, still working. Not just matter or energy. They eat meaning, purpose, memory. Every world they touch becomes void. Every species they encounter becomes nothing. Not dead, but erased. As if they never existed. Why are they coming here? They followed my signature. The resonance could coordinate across galaxies through quantum entanglement of consciousness. The Devourers learned to track that signature. They've been hunting me for 10,000 of you years. When I awoke, I called out without thinking.
Old habits. Her expression hardened.
They heard. Eli spoke from his seat at the environmental controls. So it's our fault? We woke you up? No, small keeper. They were coming anyway. This system has life. That's enough for them. She finished her preparations. I simply ensured they'd find a fight instead of a feast. The fleet entered weapons range. Valshara didn't hesitate. The station fired, and Cade learned what ancient weapons could do. Beams of concentrated stellar matter cut through void, each shot tearing apart ships that fled from human understanding. Missiles that folded through dimensions, appearing inside enemy hulls before detonating. Gravitational lances that crushed vessels like insects. The Devourers returned fire. Their weapons were wrongness made manifest. Projectiles that unmade matter. Beams that caused atoms to forget how to bond. The station's shields held, but Cade watched the power levels fluctuate wildly. Redirect auxiliary power from sections 12 through 18, Valshara commanded. Route it to forward shields. Cade's hands moved across unfamiliar controls that somehow made sense. The station guided him, responded to intent. Power flowed. Shields stabilized. Good. You learn quickly. The Queen's voice carried approval. Your bloodline has always been adaptable. The battle intensified. More Devourer ships poured from the dark, coordinating with inhuman precision. They didn't retreat, didn't hesitate, just pressed forward, accepting losses, overwhelming through sheer numbers. There are too many, Cade said, watching the tactical display. Even with these weapons, I know. Valshara's expression was calm, almost serene. I countered on it. She made a gesture, and the moonship began to glow. Not the soft bioluminescence from before. This was burning, searing light that made Cade's eyes water even through the filtered view screen. The resonance fought the Devourers for millennia. We learn their nature. They consume purpose, yes, but what happens when they encounter purpose so absolute, so refined, that consuming it destroys them? The light intensified. Katie grabbed Eli, pulling the boy close. What are you doing? What I was made for. What I've waited 10,000 years to do. Valshara spread her arms, and the light enveloped her. I am not just a queen. I am a weapon, a living bomb designed to eliminate their kind. My people created me, then died before I could be deployed. Your grandfather found me drifting, my targeting protocols incomplete. He gave me what I needed, time to refine my purpose, to understand what I was protecting. The truth hit Kade like a physical blow. DNA'd. He suspected. I confirmed it when I explained what I was. Her voice remained steady even as her form began to dissolve into pure energy. He chose to protect me anyway, to give me a choice, not force me to die on command. That kindness is worth preserving. The Devourer fleet began to falter. The light was affecting them, drawing them in like gravity. They tried to retreat, but the pull was too strong. Eli buried his face against Cade's chest. Can't we stop her? No, son. I don't think we can. Cade's voice cracked. I don't think she wants us to. Valshara turned, her features now barely visible in the radiance. The station will survive. I've set the protocols. It will contract back to its small form, maintain your life support. You'll continue as you were, keeper and son, holding the watch. She paused. Tell your children and their children that a queen chose to fight, that she was grateful for your bloodline service. Will it hurt? Eli's small voice, barely audible. The queen smiled, the first time Cade had seen that expression on her alien features. No, small one. It will be like coming home. She released the containment. The light consumed everything, the Devourer fleet, the void between stars, the darkness itself. Katie held Eli tight, felt the station's shields buckling, then beyond buckling, then holding by something other than technology. By will. By promise. The explosion was silent in vacuum, but Cade heard it anyway. A resonance that sang through the station's bones, through his own bones. A sound like 1,000 voices harmonizing, like civilizations remembering their purpose, like meaning itself made audible. Then darkness. Real darkness, the kind between stars. Katie opened his eyes. The command center was intact. The station was contracting around them, folding back into its small, forgotten form. The view screen showed empty space where the Devourer fleet had been. No debris. No radiation signature. Just absence. And at the very edge of sensor range, something else. A pulse of light, moving away at impossible speed. Not an explosion's aftershock. Something deliberate. Eli pulled free from his father's arms and ran to the console. Dad, look! It's a message! Cade joined him, studying the frequency pattern. It took him a moment to recognize it. Human binary code. Ancient and simple, a single repeating phrase. Thank you, keep watching. The pulse faded into the dark. The station settled into its old rhythms, creaking metal, humming stabilizers, the quiet of isolation, but different now. Forever different. Eli looked up at his father. Are we still keepers, even though she's gone? Cade pulled his son close, looking out at the vast and patient dark. Especially now. She asked us to keep watching. That's what we'll do. Until what? Until we're needed again. That's what Guardians do, Eli. We wait. We watch. We keep faith with those who trusted us. He activated the station log, beginning a new entry. And we tell the story so the next keeper knows what they're protecting. The fleet's next supply ship arrived 3 weeks later. The captain noted, Outpost Savara's unusual power readings but accepted Cade's explanation of a cycling malfunction. The mocking continued. Mercer's mausoleum, humanity's forgotten edge. Let them mock. Cady had learned what his grandfather knew, what his father had been taught. Some inheritances aren't burdens. Some isolation isn't punishment. Some watch posts guard against threats that don't announce themselves, that require patience measured in generations, that demand keepers willing to be forgotten, mocked, dismissed. Cade stood at the observation window that night, Eli asleep in his quarters. The moon below had returned to darkness, but occasionally, just occasionally, patterns of light flickered across its surface. Not random, deliberate. Messages from what remained. Echoes of a queen who'd chosen sacrifice. Reminders that humanity's edge, forgotten and mocked, had held against the dark. He placed his hand against the window's cold surface. We're still watching, he whispered to the void. We'll keep watching. The station thrummed its agreement, and somewhere in the dark between stars, purpose resonated, remembered, and waited to be needed again. The watch continued.